Thanks very much again, everyone. We're now delighted to be joined by Emma Hayes to preview the match against the UEFA Women's Champions League match against Real Madrid tomorrow. Once again, I'll hand over to Jeremy from Sky.
Hi Emma.
Hey.
Obviously it's a really bad injury. How is she and how long realistically will it take for her to come back from this?
I mean, that's a huge blow for her and for the team. She was having, I think, a fantastic impact and had really settled into the side this year. No medical staff member will ever put a timeline on that type of surgery because it all depends how she responds once it settles down. But I could say that I can't see her playing, anytime soon. So I think for us, we just need to support her in the best way we can. And as Millie mentioned, we do have the depth to be able to cope with that. Not that you can replace Pernille Harder. She's an outstanding player and person, and I know that certainly the whole team is rallying around her.
How frustrating that it happened away on international duty?
Yeah, very frustrated. I think I've made it clear player welfare needs looking at for the players. I mean, Erin Cuthbert went away with Scotland, played a game on Saturday, and then they played her again less than 48 hours later on a Monday. I think it's outrageous that players are put in those positions. And yes, there have to be an international calendar, and yes, I know there's going to be changes so that they could perhaps be with international for longer periods and then with their club for longer periods, because it's really the travel and the in-between that causes a lot of the problems, I would say. And for someone like Pernille, she always wants to do everything, and it's not the fault of anybody. Sometimes with these injuries, they come, for many different reasons. But I certainly feel that players playing in World Cups, European Championships, being given 2 weeks rest in between seasons is unacceptable for them. Like, forget clubs and countries. Like, we need to start putting the players first.
Sure, yeah. So what about Real? It's 2-2 so far, but this looks like a match to decide who wins the group. Would you agree with that?
I'd say after last year, I don't take anything for granted, and I think a team we haven't played before, slightly different, I think, in their style compared to Barcelona and Atletico Madrid. But I think they're a team that will look to be comfortable, especially on the counter. They've got threats out wide. Whether she plays the 9, whether she plays an inside 7-11. I think in Castillo they've got a great 1v1 player. But like Millie said, like for us, our focus and attention is on ourselves, and we've become accustomed to being the favourite in every situation, and I think the team feel very driven by improving our details. And I think building on Sunday, I thought it was a really good performance from the team. It's just we've got that little bit of momentum, and we're playing at home, and nothing beats playing at home.
Does Caroline Weir evoke bad memories of the Conti Cup final?
No, but she's a clever player, and if she plays as a false 9, she's going to overload the midfield, which I think she will do. If she plays as a wide 7-11, she's going to come inside so their fullback can bomb on. She's a player that will play in pockets very well. So there might be times our back four might have players on the outside shoulders but no one on the inside spaces. So we have to be calm about that, not get drawn and dragged into areas. But we know what we can do against them, and our focus and attention is making sure we hurt them as much as possible.
It's back to Kingsmeadow. Is there any reason this match couldn't have been at Stamford Bridge like it was at the weekend?
We had conversations with the club about this. I think selling out Sunday and then doing the same on Wednesday, I don't want 5,000 turning up. I think it's smart for us to pick the right games, and picking PSG during a Christmas week when kids are not at school, when people might not be at work, is the right opportunity to do it. And I think you're playing in big stadiums. I think you have to prepare properly to pick the right opponent in the right timing so that you can, as I said, there's a business cost to doing it. And while we might, in some games not sell out Kingsmeadow, and they might not be games that are, as easy to sell, that we stay at Kingsmeadow like many clubs will do across the WSL. But I think for the big games, big opportunities, that at least certainly the top clubs will look at opportunities to play more and more, I think, in big stadiums.
And Sunday obviously was a triumph, wasn't it?
Yeah.
You made some comments about the game needing to grow. I mean, what kind of reaction have you had to what you were saying at the weekend?
Don't know. I don't look at it, but I know for me it's about the logical steps. I've always felt that £9 to attend a top women's match, you don't pay that to go to the theatre, you don't pay that to go to any top sporting event, and I don't want women's sport to be sold short. I don't want to make it difficult for people to come, but I also think it's at a point where if you want the best league, we attract the best players to that. It's a massive product. You don't go to a concert or the opera or the theatre or anyone else for that matter and pay £9. However, I think some of my thinking is we should have a tiered approach to it. If we're playing in our smaller stadium, perhaps we maintain certain prices, but if we play in the bigger stadium with maybe more matches, we create a tiered structure so that we can open up the whole stadium without it always having a massive cost implication to the parent club.
Sure. Just on Sam Kerr, she's in a really hot streak right now. I mean, what do you make of her scoring exploits?
I expect nothing less. I think she's the best, and by that I mean the best. She's just so consistent, and she has been in my time here. Even when she wasn't scoring the first part she was here, I thought she was outstanding in her performances. She's got great resilience and resolve. I think her biggest strength is, she trusts her teammates. She wants that reciprocated, and they do that by providing her with the service she gets. But she's a joy to watch, and I certainly think she's finding another level in her game.
Erin Cuthbert been talking much about that goal?
Do you know what? No. I haven't seen her, so I think I've managed to, keep that one a little bit quiet. I'm waiting for it. But we did some clips this morning around some other pieces of her game. And as I said before, she's so receptive to go up another level. I'm just looking forward to really improving her as a central midfielder, and one which I know she loves playing in, and I'm looking for the next levels from Erin.
Just finally, Emma, what have you made of the first few days of the World Cup and England's 6-2
It's the only game I've watched. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. Really, really, I thought from start to finish, we were outstanding. Always, don't want to concede goals, but I think when you're that comfortable, sometimes those things happen. So I haven't had any time. The kick-off times mean I don't even know the results from today.
Argentina have lost to Saudi Arabia 2-1.
Just really, wow. I mean, top-level football, there's a lot of parity. There's a long way to go. Yeah, I'm sure Argentina, will bounce back.
Thanks so much.
Thanks.
Thanks very much, Jeremy. Sandra?
All right. I was just going to ask you, other team news and fitness-wise, how's the rest of the squad doing Wednesday?
Just Maramilda. She had a little tendon issue after the PSG game, and I've seen her back out on the grass today. If we had a game at the weekend, I don't think she's quite there yet. I know she's not available. Everybody else is.
And how much of a boost is it to have Fran Kirby coming back? Because
Yeah.
for these games through Europe.
Do you know what? She was unfortunate. She got a viral infection, got well, started training again, then got a viral infection again. So she almost had a double whammy that set her back. And that's why she's been out this length of time. She got a horrific cough and cold through that period. Thank goodness that's subsided. She used international break to sort of start training with the group again, and her physical outputs on Sunday for the time she was on the pitch was really, really good, and she's back and available for selection.
To hear, and Deisha Buchanan had a good game on Sunday. Obviously, I'm not sure what your lineup will be, but I'd be surprised if she wasn't in it. But how good is it to have that experience for Chelsea's Champions League?
Oh my God, it's amazing. I mean, just having the depth in general, I know people think, they've got the biggest squad, and I've always said this, because of the way the international calendar is, and because the demands of the domestic game, I remember last year having 13 fit players and realising how challenging that was. So for us, the first part is always the trickiest for the whole squad because you don't quite get as much playing time for everyone, but it evens itself out over the course of the year. And what I am certain of after Sunday was I come back, I think the team's in an even better place. I think our football's at a higher level, and I think the gap between those that have played more minutes and those that haven't is even closer. And so I can only ask that much of the group, and they've been brilliant.
Good to hear. And you were talking about the player loads, and obviously so many of the tournaments and the international breaks have come so close together. I mean, and obviously with Women's Nations League coming up potentially next year, how challenging is it to manage that and just the fitness and the, like you say, the energy for the players?
It's the freshness. It's actually not the fitness, it's the freshness piece. Some injuries come as a result of a lack of freshness and then the accumulation of things, and some of that might come with travel. But it's not that I don't understand Sweden going to Australia. They have a World Cup there. They have to prepare for that, but it's a long way to go. I think FIFA, UEFA's ideas going forward to almost have like 3-month block, then an international camp that's 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks, rather than just lots of little chunking. Because for me, it's the travel that's a big problem. Then you get in and let's say, I don't know, a player gets to recover here, then have a day off. The National Association might have them in and they train the next day. So all of a sudden, a player's habits or how they recover from game varies. And that could be so disruptive. So national associations want more training time and more games. We want more time with the players between the blocks. So it makes more sense for me to almost go August, September, October, November, or maybe the first part. No international camps. Then November, slightly longer. Then nothing again, but slightly longer at another period. So they're doing less, but the same. If you know what I mean. It's killing the players. It's really. I'm not talking on behalf of my own. I mean across the board. Look at the injuries in the women's game.
Injuries, and then if, like for example, Miedema got COVID during the Euros, and then you're coming back to the start of the season
and having to qualify for a Champions League. Why? I always said that before. Why do Arsenal and Man City have to qualify there? Why aren't we having it almost mirroring the men's Champions League competition, and the players get the much deserved rest they need?
Back to Kings Meadow,
yeah.
Nice. I know you like the nice enclosed atmosphere. It was just quite electric. The last game.
Oh, I know. I'm gutted. I missed it.
I mean, how important is it to have a decent away allocation for Europe as well as for the domestic games, and just making sure you've got that kind of.
It's probably the thing I've screamed about the most. I've wanted the most. I've always felt we have to, separate into certain sections. It creates atmosphere, like Millie said. I think it's at that point for fan safety, it's going to have to be that, because I remember watching the Arsenal-Man United game and seeing the Man United fans there. They were there in their numbers. This is what has to happen going forward, and everything that's happening is just notch up from where the game has been. And I think that inevitably this time next year, it won't be a conversation we're having, because I would imagine those things will be in place.
That's great to hear. Good luck for this Wednesday.
Thanks.
Thanks very much, Sandra. Thanks very much, everyone.
Woohoo! I'm out. See you later, guys.
Colin, give us your question.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks very much for joining us. We're delighted to be joined by Millie to preview our UEFA Women's Champions League match against Real Madrid tomorrow. This press conference is all in one section, so I'll hand straight over to Jeremy from Sky Sports.
Hi, Millie.
Hello.
The news about Vanilla Harder wasn't good, was it? A bad hamstring surgery. What did you make of that, and how is she?
Yeah, I think obviously as a team we're devastated. She's such a key player, and you don't want to see any player go through that sort of injury. However, we do have the depth in the team, and everyone's around her, and we'll be there every step of the journey.
Yeah, what about this game then with Real Madrid? I mean, how keen are you to make it 3 out of 3 and really boss the group?
Yeah, definitely. I think we take it game by game, and we just want to keep showing our dominance, keep progressing as a team, and keep developing, but ultimately get the job done and get the win, and yeah, keep proving ourselves in Europe.
You'll be up against Caroline Weir, who's caused you some problems before. What are your thoughts about facing her and indeed a move to Real?
Yeah, she's a wonderful player. I think she's gone to a new level since being out there, and I think everybody knows her technical ability and the magic that she can perform. But equally, we're just focusing on ourselves. We know their threats, but equally, we know ours, and yeah, we're just ready for the game.
You're going to make it 10 wins out of 10, hopefully. I mean, how good is this Chelsea team playing right now?
Yeah, we're in great form. I think most importantly, everyone's just enjoying their football and playing with smiles on our faces, and yeah, I think just keep proving that we're here for business, and each season we want to progress, we want more trophies, but we know that there's a process in doing that. So yeah, it's like I said, it's game by game, but yeah, we're really excited and everyone's raring to go.
I mean, it's back to Kingsmeadow. Emma was making some interesting points about playing on a bigger stage and growing the women's game at the weekend. How much do you agree with what she said about, women's football needing a bigger stage, bigger stadium and bigger ticket pricing?
I think it's the next step. I think we've seen how much the game's progressed and how we're leading the way, and I think that's something that this club does. I think it's something that Emma does, and yeah, we have to keep moving and keep building and progressing, and going to bigger stadiums is the next part for me, and we absolutely love playing at the Bridge and the fans going there and the excitement that comes with that, and I think we're ready for that. So yeah, hopefully we can see more games there.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Sandra, please.
Hi, Millie. Hope you're well. I was just going to ask, just following on some of what you were saying about Caroline Weir, what do you think of the threat posed by Real Madrid as a whole? I don't think they're a team that Chelsea have ever faced in the Champions League, have they, so far?
No, I think obviously aggressive, great energy, great attacking presence. So I think we've got to be switched on defensively. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting game. I think it's going to be feisty, and certainly one that we're ready for.
And the last time you played at Kingsmeadow, obviously with Lasnia, they got heavily beaten, but their away support was quite lively. I mean, what are your thoughts of having more away ends, but both in Europe, but then domestically as well, just having that kind of raucous atmosphere in terms of, it certainly didn't affect Chelsea's performance.
Yeah, we need it. I think every player will agree that we want that in the women's game. It brings, it's intense, but that's what you want games to be like. I think it can change a game. It can sway momentum for or against. I think the fans enjoy it, and it shows what football in Europe's all about. And we want to bring that to WSL as well.
Obviously, you scored against PSG, and you've had so many clean sheets, including the two in this competition so far. How do you feel about your form, and have you set yourself a kind of like goal scoring target for Europe, or is it just about the wins and getting Chelsea as far as possible, ideally to the final?
I think I'll leave the goal scoring chart to Sam. I'll let her set her targets, but yeah, for me it's just as long as the ball's in the back of the net. I think as a team we're not bothered who gets that. It's just about us being ruthless in those areas, and I think the more goal scorers we can get on the score sheet, the better. And yeah, I think we've shown our threats with that we don't rely on any one individual. The team, everyone can add to the goals and be threats in those areas. But yeah, it's we want to be ruthless against any opponent, and also keep clean sheets. I think that's the main aim for me as a defender.
And momentum-wise and morale-wise, how is it in the squad at the moment? Just with, obviously, you had the result against it at the beginning of the season, but now it's a completely different kind of Chelsea. Chelsea is business as usual. Yeah,
definitely. It was a poor start from us. We accept that, but you need those moments to develop, and to maybe see where your weaknesses are at times. And we certainly know from past experiences that those little setbacks only push you on to greatness. So for us, we don't dwell on those moments. We move on. We learn from them, most importantly. And yeah, I think we're in a great period at the moment, and we just want to keep going.
That's great. Thanks, Millie. Cheers.
Brilliant. Thanks very much, Millie. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is that us done then?
No, you're in now.
See you later. See you tomorrow.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you.